JEDI, Jefferson Economic Development Institute, and we're really happy you've joined us. It looks like we have a lot of people here who are interested in clearing their workspace and being more productive and efficient by staying current and organized at work. We're really happy you're here today, and I'm excited about this webinar. Before I get started and introduce my co-facilitator, I wanted to just orient people to the platform we're using today. This is GoToWebinar, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us to, yes, record these webinars and have some visuals for everyone. And I encourage each of you who are investing some time right now in yourself and in your business to make the most out of the webinar and be active and a listener. It is easy to double task on webinars, and this is specifically a topic that's about staying focused and clear. So this is a good opportunity to clear the space in your mind and in your office and just be here right present with us, because I guarantee that you're going to get some great information and practical tips to help you be more effective at work and really get into that mindset of having a clear, efficient, productive workspace. So there's a control panel, and you can hide or view that by using the little red arrow. We do not have audio options for the audience today, but you can type in questions, and there's a question box. So feel free to type in your questions. We'll be looking at those. We will respond to those at the end of the call, maybe during the call. And I hope that mostly you just enjoy this and make the most out of it, apply it to your business. The webinar will be between 45 minutes and an hour, and we are ready to get started. This is brought to you by JEDI, Jefferson Economic Development Institute, where potential becomes prosperity. And that's for all of us. We're all about potential. JEDI offers tons of services, training, classes, workshops. We have private business and financial counseling. We have a computer and graphics lab, a library of resources. We do tax preparation, matched savings programs, business planning, and loan application help. You can find us at that telephone number, 926-6670. I know many of you are already familiar with JEDI, and some of you are familiar with myself and my co-facilitator today. So briefly, yeah, it's really wonderful to be here and be the moderator of these webinars. I've been an entrepreneur basically my whole life, had a handful of different businesses in Siskiyou County as well as in Arizona. I am a trainer for JEDI and program manager, and love to work with and inspire and empower individuals towards their purposeful success in life. And JEDI Hansen is such an asset to our community in many ways. She also does training for JEDI. She's the executive director of the Nordic Center, and she is a certified coach and has a private practice. And JEDI is on this call with me today because she is a master. You really are, JEDI, of organization and efficiency. Every time I've walked into your office, it's been clean and clear, and you're so on point with how you hold meetings and facilitate your life. So it's just a pleasure to have you here and learn with you.
Thank you, Joy. It's a pleasure to be on the call today. And I'm joining you from my office and my clear desk space. This call motivated me to make the desk nice, clear, and organized. So thanks for having me here today.
That's great. Me too, JEDI. I was noticing over the last 2 weeks as we were pulling this together and getting more specific, I kept cleaning more files and going through old things and really walking the talk, because that's what it's about. Absolutely. So what we're going to cover today is why clear your workspace, and then we'll specifically talk about the first step, which is decluttering. We call it a clean sweep. And then we'll go into, once you've created that environment for yourself, what are some organizational principles that will work ongoingly? What are systems at work that work? And how can you stay current in your workflow to get the most done and to get the most benefit? So however you take notes, I would encourage it. You might want to put together a little list of ahas and also a list of to-dos, practical things that you want to do to move forward. JEDI, what is a workspace?
Well, In this day and age, there are all different kinds of workspaces. And actually, as you were asking me that, it occurred to me that actually for some people, a workspace is their smartphone. That's like how advanced we are these days. But some workspaces are traditional offices with desks and paper files. They include storage closets, cabinets, trunks, boxes, you know, the iPad, the iPhone, the tablet, computers. My husband is a contractor. His office is a big truck with a trailer that he pulls behind it with all kinds of cords and tools. So that's his office. A briefcase, a purse. Joy and I, you have talked extensively and like compared our purses and how we like to compartmentalize those. And job sites and also workshops. So in this day and age, a workspace can include many different kinds of workspaces.
Perfect. So your power spots for productivity. Well, why do we want to clear them? There's a lot of reasons. Definitely, and this is a quote by Dr. Mary Ellen Crystal, with a clean workspace, I can think clearly and creative juices flow. Having no clutter keeps me focused. But there's a lot of benefits, like finding things. When you know where things live, you can find them. Having order in your workspace, you know, this is definitely what we don't want. For those of you who are on audio only, here's a comic of a man with paper all over him, and it says, hang on while I find a pencil. This is not how we want to live. We want to live with a clear, clean place and be able to get our work done in order to...
So clearing your workspace is so important, and there are many reasons why we want to do that. The most obvious one is saving time. So if we spend the time ahead of time to put things away and create places to put all of our work-related items, then we're going to save time in the future. We feel better, and our health is improved. And a great example of this, for me at least, is that when I stay organized, I have a clear head at night after eating dinner and going to bed because I know everything is taken care of. So I sleep better. I am able to be more creative when I'm organized because I have a clean palette to work from. And eventually that's going to lead to being more profitable in our businesses and to be more effective because we know things are and we're not grasping for a pencil under a pile of papers. And I know that for myself, when I take the time to organize, then I just enjoy my life and my work more.
Yeah, I just want to tag on here and say that when I have too much of a mess around me and my surroundings reflect my mind, I feel overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed and I procrastinate. And so by clearing that space and knowing what's ahead of me, you know, I have a plan, then I can work my plan and things are clean and clear. It just helps so much. Everyone has their own standard of clean too, so we want to make sure you all definitely create your own style of organization in your workspace. There was another why that you had shared, Jessie, that I thought was a really good.
Yeah, so passing the work on. I had an experience at one point where I took over a job position and I inherited this mess of computer files and paper files, and it took up so much of my training time in that position just trying to figure out where things were and navigate this unorganized system. And I told myself, if I ever have to pass on a position or work for a project, I want it to be organized so it's easy on the person that I'm passing that on to. So that means either passing a project to employees, delegating a project, or if I'm leaving a company, I want it to be easy for that next person to be able to navigate. Oh my gosh, selling a business, to have clean computer files or QuickBooks, making it easy for that next person to just step in and get the work done.
So let's start with clearing the clutter. And the idea here in this little section, we're going to talk about how you can take what you have now and make it even more effective and efficient for you, because change is good. And the question is, does your office reflect who you are today? Clutter is an accumulation of things that we don't use. I would define clutter as anything that is taking up space in your workspace that really is not being utilized, anything that is distracting you. And we want to talk about, how do you sort? How do you let go of what you don't need? And how do you do that on a daily practice? But also, how do you do a clean sweep or a big sort? And so the principle here is, if you don't adore it, you don't use it, or you don't value it, it goes. The challenge, the opportunity, is set aside a time for a big sort to go through and face your organizing challenge, whatever it might look like. And it might look like this, and it might look much better than that. But even in a clean office, and I keep my office relatively clean, I love annually to go through the big sweep. And I do it around the first of the year because I'm naturally going through my financials and moving files, changing things, organizing, and keeping records. And so I take it as an opportunity to go through every drawer, every closet, all those hidden places, and it's like, why is this here? Am I using it? Do I still need it? Do I adore it? So how do you sort? You make piles of things. And what I find myself doing, this applies to your office, your house, your garage, your storage, all the workspaces that Justy mentioned, is I make piles of what I want to recycle, what is going to go in the garbage, what am I going to give away or sell. So I might even have 2 or 3 piles there, like have a specific person I'm giving things to, or an organization I want to give something to, or things I'm going to sell. And then I have things that I'm moving out of one workspace and I'm repurposing it. I'm putting it somewhere else in my house. And then I might have a pile of more detailed items. I don't want to get distracted with those detail items, so I'll set those aside for, I need to spend extra time on these. So we make the piles, then we disseminate the piles. And having studied a little bit about organization and clutter and sorting, this is what most organizational experts recommend. Piles, then you take care of each of those piles. If it's something sentimental, like photos, you're in sorting mode, not reminiscing. You're looking through old letters. No, this is about sorting. So if you find yourself getting distracted, remember you're sorting, set a timer, make it fun, get it done. You can put it in the I'll do this later aspect if you need to. So once we've done the sorting, then it's time to look at, do we have the right boxes, bins, shelves, organizational system in our closets and our files that are working for us? And it's best to wait to buy your bins and all of those organizational elements after the sorting process. Take notes as you're sorting. Think about new and creative ways that you might want to organize your office, and then go out with your measurements and buy what you need. Visualize what you need, then go out and find what you need. And a lot of us love to do color coding. So I find that I have a lot of files that are color-coded. I do this electronically as well. I like it to look good. I like to make sense of the different projects I'm working on, so I've identified different colors for each of my projects. And there's so many organizational tools out there in the marketplace now that it can actually become somewhat fun, and it's your own code. The colors become your own code. Justy, you have a lot to say about making it fun too, because I know you do these big sorts.
I do. I do them regularly. So I personally have experienced that clearing out the clutter and getting organized can be really fun, especially if you turn it into a ritual, I guess you could call it, or an event. For example, I will set a date. I check the forecast to make sure it's going to be a rainy or cloudy or windy day, so I'm more likely to want to be inside. I get myself some yummy treats, like some foods to treat myself with, maybe like a yummy trail mix, bowl of ice cream, and I turn on some music, wear some comfortable clothes, and just totally get into clearing stuff out and getting things organized. So I end up associating it with positive feelings and a positive experience rather than, you know, the drudgery of day-to-day life, clearing things out and work. So that's what I do to make it fun. We all have our own ways of doing that. Joy, I know you have your own system of what you do to make it fun.
Well, I annually do. I play music. I get comfortable too, and I really look forward to it. And that's kind of my office file yearly deal. But then I often like block out the garage day in the spring, or I'll spontaneously get the feeling that it's time to clean out one area of my life or my office, and I'll set a date with myself for an hour or two, and or spontaneously go to it. But I get in this mode. I get in this mode. I just did it this weekend, cleaning out old CDs where I'm sorting. I'm moving on. I'm letting go of the old.
Yep.
Because as I say, paper clutter is no more than postponed decisions.
And that is so true, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I read recently in Psychology Today that the United States loses 15 to 20% of our annual budget by procrastinating and avoiding decisions because we're not organized. So just thinking about that, you know, that's another benefit of taking the time and investing in our organizational systems because it helps us make decisions in a more efficient and clear way. So that was a big lesson for me. Ooh,
you know,
yeah.
Very interesting, and the taking the time piece. So there might be that look at this later pile that we talked about in the sorting section,
right?
And that might be a 2-hour turn off the phone, no email, focus on the pile of stuff, the paper piles that have been like in the inbox for months, and they collect, or weeks. And it's a dedicated time to make decisions. So that would be a really nice applicable tip to make sure that we take the time to make decisions as we clean the clutter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, you know, now a lot of our business is on our computer. It's in the technology, and in paper, and they're both equally as important as far as clearing out. So doing the clean sweep. It's important regularly. We want to empty the trash in our office and also empty the trash in our computers and in our inboxes, and refiling. So Joy and I were talking last week about, you know, what kind of filing system do you have? We were exchanging stories. And refiling. So if a filing system doesn't work, take the time to make it work for your natural flow and the way your mind works. So same with titles and dates. I, at one point, renamed everything because the way my tabs were filed was not working for me. So I think the key to making an organizational system stick for you is it has to be in line with who you are and what you're about. Archiving information is really important. I have archive folders in all of my folders. So if there's stuff that maybe I think I might want to refer to, but I don't want it to be a visual jumble, I put it in the archive folder. Really important. I have a reminder on my computer. It gives me a reminder like once a week to back up my computer, which reminds me to defrag and clean up and do my security updates. So it's really important. And Joy and I were talking about last week that travel can be a great time to organize the computer. So if you're flying somewhere at a train station, you've got some extra time where you're waiting for your train or your flight, you can clean out your camera, like clean out your images. That can get clogged up really quick, or remaining computer files. So travel can be a great way to just invest that time in organizing your technology.
And really, all of this organization, it really simply sets us up to be more productive. We know where we're going to find things, and we're going to be able to work more efficiently. And it does take time. But like we're saying, it actually can be quite a joy. There's such a release and a relief in the process and when it's done. And the car. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I found online in terms of what should be in a car, what shouldn't be in a car. And because cars can collect, so registration, insurance certificates, an owner's manual, maps or GPS, sunglasses, umbrella, recreational gear, living where we live, we definitely want that in our car. Maybe an envelope with coupons when we want to save some money shopping, some tissue and hand sanitizer. That's great. Don't need too much clutter in our car. And especially there are those contractors and people who travel a lot with their work, and it's easy to collect, and then you're in an environment of mess. In the trunk, there might be a toolkit, a flashlight, a spare tire, some snow equipment, or a shovel, a blanket, a few emergency items. And I bought a bin for mine. They're tucked away, and I know that they're there. I feel safe. I feel secure. But what I don't want in my car are old food wrappers, garbage, recycling that's sitting there for days, out-of-season tools and toys, a closet of clothes. It's great to keep the clean car rolling as we're rolling through our productive power spots. And we are mobile these days. We need to be organized on the go. So while we're organizing our offices and our computers and our cars, let's remember to also daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, clean out the wallet, clean out the bags, the briefcase. And then, once again, we have a place where we find everything and we feel more relaxed. As small business owners, which many of you are, receipts can collect in the wallet. So how often are we pulling those out and filing them where they go so that we're ready for our taxes? These are the kind of things that if we stay current with them, life is going to be easier, filing taxes will be easier, and our mind will be clearer. Which brings me to this slide. Karen Kingston, who wrote the book Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui, I highly recommend it. Here are two of the quotes I enjoyed. She says, whenever I come across clutter, its energy field is unmistakable. It presents an obstacle to the flow of energy. Clutter causes problems in people's lives. The good news is that after clearing clutter, this unwholesome, stagnant energy disappears. And here's the big warning, and this is so true. When you clear clutter, you may lose weight, feel lighter and happier. You may feel because there's less buffer and distraction. You might make room for new and better things. That's a principle that has been showing up in my life over and over again. Get rid of old clothes, get rid of old things, new, there's room for the new. And you may have better ideas and make better decisions because your mind is clear. When you've cleared the clutter, you might be able to then buy some new things for your workspace because the broken item isn't there anymore. It needs to be replaced. Or there's space in your bookshelf to buy the new book or whatever it is that you might need, or equipment. So when I'm buying new things, I am really now very deliberate. Is it a wow? I say go for the wow. So do I really want this? Does it make me excited? Do I know where it will go? Do I know what it is replacing? What will I do with it? And how am I going to feel using it or looking at it? So once I've cleaned out clutter, I only want to invite into my work that which I'm really going to use and feel good about. And I wait until I get those items that I really, really enjoy. I want a productive workspace. And that workspace can look like you. We've got some other photos we'll be showing throughout the webinar of really Zen workspaces, but not everyone is Zen. People are artistic, they're creative. one of our JEDI members, Kim Hermanson, wrote the book Get Messy, and she talks about how important it is at times when you're creative to have that room to go ahead and be creative and chaotic while you're creating, and then pull things together again. So make the space work for you, whatever that individually looks like for you. There's a couple organizational principles we're going to go through now. And the first one is everything has a home. So if you have family members, you work at home, or other employees, you want to make sure everyone knows the home of certain items. An example is a key. Key to your car, key to your house, your keychain. There are literally 3 places where my key lives. One in my house, one in my purse, and one in my car. But I know how to find my key because there's only 3 places that it ever lives. There are also families or individuals or work situations where there is a message center by a phone, and that booklet full of messages cannot leave that place. It always has a home. So many people lose things because they haven't designated 1 or 2 spots where it lives. So as you're sorting and then reorganizing, everything has a home. And we commit to that, and especially when you're working with teams and employees. Another organization principle is to be consistent with your organizing. So in the case of files, electronic or paper, are you filing chronologically or alphabetically? And so if you're designing files that have like 2014, you start with the year and then the subject. Be consistent, or year, month. What's your consistent theme for filing? There's great resources online you can study more specifically, but the idea here is create systems. And what my father says, Marlon Taylor, is there's freedom in limitation. A system or something consistent is a limitation. His greatest example is his closet. And I remember as a kid, I was watching my dad get dressed in the morning, or pick out his clothes, and he would just pull out the first suit and tie on the left side of the closet. And that was what he was going to wear that day. And then after it was cleaned, he'd put it on the right side of the closet. And his clothes, he would wear them in sequence. He would just pull out the item and put it on. And I thought that was so strange. I said, Dad, why do you do that? And he said, I never have to think about what I'm going to wear, and there's freedom in limitation. I can be thinking about what I'm going to get done today at work. I can be creative because I know I'm going to wear the suit on the left side of the closet. And there's freedom in limitation. So what are the limitations of the systems you have at work that allows you to be able to be free with the rest of your life and your creativity? Another organizational principle is to write things down. This is a big one for you, Justy.
It is. I believe that there's freedom in writing it down, because then I don't have to rely on my brain to remember all of the details that accumulate on a daily basis. It's so critical. You can do it in many ways, and we have so many options in this day and age. We have on our smartphones reminder lists. We can set reminder timers. We can write it down on sticky notes. We can write it down in our organizer. But the gift in this is that we don't have to worry about waking up in the middle of the night going, oh my gosh, that's right, I have to remember to do that, or pick up this item, because it's written down in a safe place. You can relax and know it's going to get taken care of. So I love sticky notes. I actually went to high school with the inventor of the sticky note. I thought that was so cool. I found that out recently. And
wow.
Sticky notes can be very valuable. I keep them in my car, and if I need to remember something, I'm in my parking spot, I write it down, stick it on my dashboard, and hold it there, and then I can add it to my organizer when I have time. So, yeah, very important.
I would even add to this. Lately, I have been using on my smartphone the voice memo, and so if I get a really good idea, I often just click and I'll just talk. You know, I'm on a roll, and I'm tracking. And also on my smartphone, I have a lot of notes, and I'm organizing these notes. So as I get ideas for different projects I'm working on, or books I want to read, or people that I need to remember to call, I don't have to carry it in my mind. And and once again, I have specific places, everything has a home, where I write down these notes, and there's a system that works for me regarding them. Grocery lists, write them down, shopping lists.
And it's funny you mention that, because I sometimes will text myself or email myself. And that way I know that I'm getting the message to myself, and I don't have to worry about it. Then when I check my email or check my text messages, I take that note and then I put it in my organizer. So they're like placeholders.
Exactly. And then they're placeholders. They're the temporary that then go on the permanent list that you're working with. Writing it down is also very important when we're working with other people and we have a verbal agreement. And this is an organizational principle in communication and delegation. So there's an agreement and an understanding, and to write that down and to send that as an email, or to have that, so everyone who's involved in the agreements and the decisions that were made have reference to what was decided. That is such a nice way to clear your work relationships, to be clear and deliberate. So when anyone questions it, it's in writing, and you can review that and look at that. And that's something when I'm going through my email boxes, I have a lot of folders that I specifically keep agreements and contracts and understandings with other people in writing, and I archive them as a reference. So we make sure that we are clearly doing what we said we would. Another organization principle is grouping like things together. So you've sorted your office, you're reorganizing your office, you want to be organized, we all do. Great idea to put like items in one area next to each other. So stationery stamps, envelopes might be in one drawer. Art supplies or pens or presentation tools, or that would be in another bin or drawer or area. I would add on here types of books. I have a little library in my office, and I have those grouped together. This could apply to the bookmark on your computer. If you save favorites and you have bookmarks and folders, I have specific folders, and I'm grouping like things together. I have a drawer full of electronic, spare electronic, and phone items. All of the manuals and the warranties for things that I purchase are in one file cabinet. Obviously, my financials are together. So it's on your workspace desk, it's in your car, it's in the files, it's on the computer, grouping like things together, so it's very easy to find them and you know where they live. And then keep things handy that you use often. That needs to make sense to you. I have a 3-hole punch. I don't use it very often. It used to be sitting right next to my computer, and one day I said, why are you living here? I use you like once a month. So I moved it to one of my side desks where I have my paper cutter and extra pens and, a few other supplies, and that's a side table. What I want on my workspace and the drawer next to me are the things I use the very, very most, that are handy, that are efficient, that are actually good on my body as well, so I can quickly grab a paper clip. My printer is near me. Obviously, pens, pencils. I need a calculator. I have that handy and available. Phone. What are those? The Post-it notes, the items I need, scissors. Those are next to me. And the things I don't need, and I use occasionally, I have those a little further away. Any of you familiar with permaculture know about the zones in gardening. It's like the zones in my workspace. And so I don't need ink from my printer daily, so it's not going to be on my front desk. It's going to be in a bin. When I need it, I can go get it and I can replace the ink. It's about creating zones in your workspace. So we're being intelligent. And then you have something that is effective and daily looks beautiful and is fun to be working within. I really am an advocate of in and out boxes, and I keep them as current as possible. So I do have a place where all my mail goes when it's outgoing, and I have a place where it comes in. And I have items that I don't have time to look at, but they're in my inbox, and my inbox is reviewed on a very regular basis so that I keep that movement happening. I have active files that are on my desk, and then files that are less active are in file cabinets. I organize binders in projects in binders, so there are a few things. You can see that on the right. When I'm really specifically working on some projects, they might be in a binder for a time. When that project is over, I archive it in a folder. Usually, I clear it out and archive it in a folder for future reference if I think I'll need it. And I have a junk drawer. I have a couple of them, one downstairs, one in my office, and I love having junk drawers. Because sometimes I just want to throw something somewhere, but I like to go through them at times. It's like, how many rubber bands and hair clips and chapstick do I need in one drawer? So junk drawers are a great realistic thing to have, but I do take time to look through them too. Do you have anything to say about junk drawers, Jessie? That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, junk drawers. I think junk drawers are great catch-all spaces. And it's nice to have them strategically placed around the house. We have 3 different junk drawers, like community junk drawers in our house. And I also have my own little junk drawer space in my own desk. And then I also take that time annually to clear it out. So again, if I haven't used it in a year, I don't need to have these items in the junk drawer anymore. So yeah, they're great because it can be a great catch-all, quick area to put those, what my mom calls chutzkas. That's what she calls items, like chutzkas. She calls it a chutzka drawer. So I'm going to take the chutzkas, put them in the chutzka drawer, and then it's away, and my desk space is clear.
Yeah, that's great. Miscellaneous items and that we want access to. How to start and end your workday? Take it away. You're good at this.
So I have a morning and evening ritual that I do as far as organizing myself, preparing, and also wrapping up my day. And actually, my day in the morning started the night before because I took the time, I always take the time at the end of my day to look at my to-do list. And I review it. I look at what I got done, and I take the items that I didn't get done for the day, and I carry them over to the next day, or maybe repurpose them for the future, the following week or following 2 weeks. Then I know that I can wrap my day up knowing that everything is going to get done. It's been written down in the calendar, which I call my brain, and I can relax for the evening. Then the next day, I wake up, I look at my calendar, I've got my to-do list. Maybe overnight I've decided, I can reprioritize a few things, and I can just get started because it's all thought out. And I used to kind of dread doing that at the end of the day because I was tired and I just wanted to get up and leave my desk. But now I look at it as an opportunity to reflect, to unwind, and just clear it out. And it's not really work. It's just making those lists, prioritizing, getting organized, cleaning it out so that I can rest and start the next day with a clear mind and a clear space.
Jessie and I found out we have this in common. I love that 10 minutes, and my addition to what you said is make sure that you set time for it. So if I know I need to be out of my office at 5, when it's 4:50, I'm cleaning up. I'm giving myself 10 minutes to just clear up, get my thoughts, ready for the next day, like you said, Jessie. Then I can leave the office and I feel fresh. for life, whatever else is happening in my life.
Yeah, and I actually, I take my organizer, I still use a paper organizer, and I intentionally close it. I don't leave it open.
Great.
Make my list, I close it. The work day is done. I try to leave it downstairs, go upstairs, and then move on to the evening.
Perfect.
Great closure. Mm-hmm.
We'll just run through some of our other slides here a little more quickly. A few systems at work that work. If you can't finish the mail, don't start the mail. This is an organizational expert, Andrew Mellon, and he really recommends it for any project. If you can't start it, if you can't finish it, maybe wait until you have time to. But mail is a great example, be it email, which I'll talk about in a minute, or snail mail. How do you go through the mail? And just once again, it's like sorting. Sorting is such an important principle. Catalogs in one pile, especially ones that you want to unsubscribe to. I'd actually tear off the name of the catalog. I collect over a month those catalogs I don't want to subscribe to any longer, and I've hired a high school student last time to make the phone calls and unsubscribe me from all of this print, and there's other ways you can do that online. But sort bills and donations and put it in accounts payable, what's personal, what's time sensitive, what do you need to read now, sort the mail, and finish the mail, at least finish the sorting part. With email, I want to talk about some really key things that have helped me a lot. Set time to do email. Don't have your inbox open all the time. Email is one of the largest distractions. More and more studies are showing that people are spending too much time in email and not getting their work done, phone calls made, projects completed. So set 2 or 3 hours or minutes or whatever you need, but sections of time a day to turn on the email, go through that, and then leave it behind really has made a difference in my life. It's very important, my work life. When I leave the email for a period of time, if it be a day or 2 days, and I come back to it, there can be a lot in my inbox. So here's what I found that helps me go through those emails. I do them chronologically, which means I go from the bottom up, and I scan the email based on who it's from and the subject, so I can see if there's duplicates, meaning there's been a conversation if it's a group email. I delete things that I'm not going to look at. I just scan and delete without opening certain things because I might be getting spam or announcements that aren't relative to me. I don't dive in email by email until I've done the scan, because then as I've scanned, I've looked at what's a priority, what do I need to look at again, and then I'm better able to respond to, in sequence of what is my work priority, the emails that came in. And especially when there's a group email, work-related group email, and there's been 5 responses, I want to make sure I've read the entire thread before I chime in and dive in. And I do create folders and archive email that's important. Folders within folders really help. I know where to find communication. I don't leave a lot of emails in my inbox. There are flagging systems. There's a lot of different types of email accounts, and there's ways to organize email. It's worth taking the time to learn how to organize your email to save time in the long run. And do include deliberate subject lines and change the subject line when needed. I notice I might be emailing someone about one work-related item, and then they bring in, or I bring in, a new conversation, and it might be time to change the subject so that when the person receiving the email receives it, they know what the subject truly is. I'm not a big fan of a subject that says hello. So, but there's a lot of ways to organize email. I think the biggest thing that has made a difference in my life is only checking my email periodically during the day, not all day long, because I want to make sure that I'm getting other things done and not getting too distracted. We're going to talk a little bit about calendars and time management. My calendar is my friend. You said your calendar is your brain. I love it,
My calendar
Jesse.
is my brain, yep. She's the brain.
So the big point here is have one, a yearly calendar, a day planner, a Palm Pilot, a PDA. It is our friend. It is so important to clear the space of time. That's part of our, it's a power spot of productivity is our calendar and our commitments. And there's a lot of ways to do our planning. Jesse, you talked about at the end of the day and throughout the day, the to-do list. Do you want to talk about this now here?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, I like to write everything down so I don't have to rely on myself to remember all the details. Especially right now in my life, I'm working on 4 different projects. So I have a lot to remember. And I make a plan for each of those projects. I have a folder for all 4 of the different projects that I'm working on. And then in my quote-unquote brain or day planner, I have the to-do tasks for each of those projects, 4 projects, in my day planner. So my day planner looks more like the image on the left, the to-do list. And then you can see this image here on the right is another very festive way of planning one's day and prioritizing. But the idea is all the strategies that we're talking about today are time investments, but they pay off. That investment up front in organizing oneself pays off with a lot more freedom and free time in the future. So I write it down and I make a plan.
So there's the daily to-do list and then there's the calendar.
Yep.
Both very important. Quick concept I'll share with you all. It's something that is very important for entrepreneurs and people who are self-employed, and that's to make sure that we have free days. I learned this from T. Harv Eckert, the Millionaire Mind Intensive. He talks about focus days, flex days, and free days. A focus day is a complete work day. Some unemployed people, I should say 2 to 5, but these are like 8-hour days. You're really focusing and working. A flex day might be a day where, oh, I got a hair appointment, or I want to go skiing. That's for the lifestyle entrepreneurs on the call. So what are the designated flex days? And then make sure there's at least 1, if not 2, absolute free days where it's not about work at all. I have 3 specific days of the week that are my focus days. I have 1 day that is my free day, and then I have flex days. And they're the same every week. If it needs to change, I trade them out. Sometimes my flex days end up being 10-hour days if needed. Life is flexible. But I really like this concept. You might want to play with focus, flex, and free days and allocate them, write them down. Make that commitment to yourself, and then make the commitment to yourself, which is very much what happens when we're clear with our time and our space. We do grow in self-esteem. We know our boundaries. It's easier for us to say yes and no appropriately because we've made a plan and we're clear about what we need to do to take care of ourselves and not other people's emergencies and not overcommit. And that happens often. So if we find ourselves overwhelmed, it might be time to consider delegating work, bartering, hiring, or subcontracting other people to save time. And that's something that takes a little analysis and thought. I don't know if you can all hear, but the trash guy came. I think it's so appropriate. We're talking about clearing the clutter and clearing your workspace and the trash. I'm watching him pick up the trash. Thanks, John Smith, Sanitation. I flow with time and I live in the now. Be realistic about how much time it takes to do projects and plan ahead. I buffer it. If I think it's going to take me an hour, I give myself an hour and a half. And I block out my calendar because I'd much rather have the free time to take care of whatever's on my to-do list if I'm done early. Very important time management skill. And having said all of that, those freedom days definitely take time to renew. Jesse, any comments?
Oh, they're critical. And knowing when to take time to renew, listening to ourselves. This is about listening to our bodies, paying attention to our energy levels, and if I'm feeling burned out, trust that by taking a little time off, if that means a 20-minute nap or just taking a walk, calling a friend, whatever it is going to re-energize and refocus me. And it definitely requires some trust. And if we're organized and we're managing our time, then we can trust even more that we're thinking ahead of time. We're planning our projects so it's not at the last minute. So if we do reach that burnout place, we can take that time to renew.
Beautiful. Just briefly, we can renew with that playful time, and we can just set an environment in our workspace where we're renewing with positive thought. If it's a vision board, if we have affirmations, if we have great books that inspire us, that we read or we pull a phrase from, anything that we can do to train our minds to feeling renewed, feeling good, staying in a positive place makes such a difference.
And I wanted to say something really quick, Joy, about the mindset piece on that slide. That for me, I was really able to accept the investment in staying organized when I took on the perspective that being organized and investing the time in that is not an option. It's a part of my day-to-day life, like drinking water, eating, and sleeping. It's just a part of day-to-day life. And when I was able to just sort of accept that as integrated into what I do, it's just not a big deal anymore. It's easy.
Yep, absolutely. Well, so organizing is about being you, not anyone else but you, and creating a space where you can think clearly and focus and be productive at work, because we do have the opportunity to control our workspace and bring some order to our life and our work, especially when we think we have a million things to do. Like you said, it's not an option. When I'm the most overwhelmed with projects is when I know that I need to the most stop and invest in getting some organization around me, so I know the task at hand and I know how I'm plotting out my next steps to accomplish everything. Makes a really big difference. And there's resources and there's help available. There's so much online researching organization, office spaces, organization bins, time management. There's some great books. I did mention one, and I'll mention it again. It's called Clear Your Clutter by Karen Kingston. And she talks about all aspects of your house and work and how important it is to clean out the old and create organization and system around you that works, because it can be, like we said, it can be really energizing, and it definitely, with the right mindset, can be a lot of fun. Some people are more naturally organizers. Other people are organizationally challenged. I had to organize because I find that I can very easily double task, and so it's especially important for me, and I'm a self-taught organizer. It didn't come absolutely natural for me, and I think some of us who have the biggest challenge in it are the ones who then have the most success and excitement once we get there. But if you're kind of thinking, I don't even know if I can do this or how to start, or you have a lot of questions, you'd be amazed how many of your friends and colleagues or other JEDI members might be resources. It's a great conversation to have with people. How do you organize? How do you file? You might find a buddy that wants to trade, and you each spend an hour or two at the other person's workspace, and you work together and help each other organize. I have done that with people, and it's been really helpful. Dusty, do you have any other resources or tips?
My tip is just get started and be easy on yourself, because it's a practice. So it's not a destination, it's a practice in everyday life, and it pays off.
All right. Well, we have, well said, we have a few minutes if anyone wants to type in a question. I'm going to keep an eye on the question box. If you have a question or a comment, just go ahead and type there, and we'll answer those in the next 5 minutes. And while people are doing that, I just wanted to thank again all of you for being here. And if you enjoyed this webinar and you'd like to contribute to more services like this in our community, we invite you to become a member of JEDI. And when you become a member of JEDI, you do receive discounted prices on services and classes, the workshops, our counseling. You get a really cool mug, unlimited computer lab and library use here at JEDI, a listing on the JEDI website, your choice of a charitable tax or business deduction, and a feeling of satisfaction that your investment is building a positive future. So we'd love to have you as an official member of JEDI. The mugs are being spread out across Siskiyou County. You can contact us today. I wanted to let you know some really great upcoming events and trainings with JEDI. The It's Your Business Alumni event is coming up this month on Monday from 5 to 8 p.m. This is for the hundreds of people in the county that have graduated from our flagship It's Your Business class. Please call and RSVP. We'd love to have you. We're going to have some great food and a wonderful presentation and panel of graduates. It's going to be a super networking event, so love for you to be here. Grow Your Business is an ongoing workshop that will be offered in April. One of the groups will be over the phone, so we want to make sure people from all over the county can be participating in that, and one will be here at the JEDI office. We're having a mixer event on Thursday, May 8th. We'd love for you to come to the JEDI office. It's a free mingle. It's in collaboration with the Mount Shasta Chamber, and that's Thursday, May 8th. Mark your calendar. Be here. The annual Meet the Lenders event is also in May, Wednesday, May 28th, for anyone who wants to look at financing their business. And then our next webinar is Wednesday, May 21st. It's a JEDI Highlight webinar. We have Kristen Stroud and Andrew Osher who are going to be on the call, and they'll be talking about the power of focus. So more to come with JEDI, and always fun to connect with each of you and have you be a part of these events. I got 2 questions, actually. The first one was, how about recycling office paper and plastic bags? Absolutely. So in that one slide earlier, we talked about sorting and clearing the clutter and making a pile of recycled items. So always encouraging people to make sure that you're recycling. And we have quite a few resources in the county. I know people who also have certain recyclables that they need to stack up and take up to Ashland. They have a great recycling system up there as well. There is, someone asked about a recording. There will be a recording available. Each of you will be emailed a thank you for attending with a link to the recording. And if for some reason that doesn't come through, contact the JEDI office. We'll send you that link. Also, people who registered but couldn't make the webinar will be receiving the link to the recording. And that's the case with all of our JEDI Spotlight webinars. So if you get emails and you can't make the date of a webinar but you register, you will be sent the recording, and that's accessible 24/7. Another comment, no question, but I want to say thank you to both of you for sharing your information. JEDI has definitely been a blessing to me to have in my corner. Well, thank you. We appreciate that a lot. Couple last announcements. JEDI also is right now doing income tax filing. So if you are interested, if you have lower middle income earner tax status, give us a call. This is through the VITA, or Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program. And we are also a California certified enrollment entity with certified enrollment counselors for covered California. So please feel free to contact JEDI about that. Another thanks, Joy and Justy. You're welcome. Thanks for that comment. Thank you, Justy. I really want to thank you big time for all of your thoughts and your contributions and your practical, like really practical stories and experience and everything you do in the community. And for those of you who are interested, here's Justy's email address. She is a certified coach as well as executive director of the Nordic and a trainer here at JEDI. Justy, I just love what you said at the end there, just get started. Is there anything else you want to add before we close out for today?
Well, I guess, yeah, get started and try to make it fun and really honor the way your mind thinks and your natural flow. If you can create a system that honors the flow, it's going to work for you. So have fun with it. And thank you so much, Joy, for having me on the call. It was a pleasure to be back and working with JEDI. I love it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. I hope you're inspired, and I know that we will all continue to become more profitable and productive and lighter and happier and efficient at work by clearing our workspaces. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.
Bye.